Why are so many Christians unhappy? Today we'll look at that awkward question.
Welcome back to our Change How You Think weekly video podcast.
If you'd like to hear from us every week, then subscribe to our videos on YouTube or by clicking on the weekly video tab at the top of this webpage. Fill in the subscription form and you'll get our free self-assessment ebook, Healthy Moods.
This week, we're bringing you an interview Grant did with Mike Sherbino.
We discussed why so many Christians are unhappy and struggling with their emotions and attitudes.
You'll learn the steps you can take to restore the joy Jesus promised to his followers.
Watch the video now and we'll see you on the other side.
It seems like, Grant, if I could just confide in you as a counselor,
in front of all
and everyone
these people,
else
yeah.
could listen in. I've dealt with a lot of cranky people. Thankfully, I'm not cranky.
No,
I don't have any mood
I'm
problems.
sure you're fine.
Yeah,
I'm
fine.
sure your whole church is fine. We're going to teach them
Well,
how to
there's
help
a couple
others.
of people in my church that I'd like you to just work on a little bit. But how do we stop being cranky? How do we stop the low depression people? And there's legitimate reasons for it all, but we see some people and it's like they have been weaned on lemon juice. They're always down, they're always low, and I want them to experience joy. I want them to smile because doesn't the Bible say that the joy of the Lord is to be our strength? And yet oftentimes it's not. And I confess, seriously, I let anxiety and things well up inside of me until I go back and get in line with God and say, God, I need to hear a word from you. But there's more than that. Talk to me about the whole mood disorder problem. Why are we the way that we are?
Well, let's talk about the cranky people first, okay? Because then mood disorders is a subtype of that.
And you can pick on me if you want.
Yeah, well, no, because I realize you're perfect, and we're guys, okay? We're talking about other people.
Oh, okay.
But crankiness, it comes from a combination of factors, okay? So now 20% of the population is struggling with their mood, and that can make them cranky too, but we'll come to that afterwards. But if we're talking the 80% of people who don't have a mood disorder,
Okay.
the crankiness comes from a sense of I've been ripped off.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I've been ripped off. And so the thing is, so that can start when they're a kid. And also they can
And it builds and builds.
Oh, of course, because you see, you can actually be taught that by parents. Usually the crankiness runs in families. So if you were raised by parents who just feel that they've always been ripped off and everyone's out to get them and they will never get a fair shake, they teach that to the kids. I mean, these are learned behaviors.
And they're thinking about it subconsciously.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it just radiates that we're always going to be taken advantage of. Someone always owes us something, and we're never going to get ahead, and we're always going to be the fall guys and the losers in any situation. So the kids just learn that. Okay. And then Satan, of course, observes that. So he will pounce on any opportunity he can to reinforce something negative. So what he does is he highlights everything in that person's life that would reinforce that preconception. So that everything in that person's life that could be interpreted as, I think I'm being ripped off or not being treated fairly, then just reinforces, you see, the world really is out to get me. But if you take the very same situation in someone who was raised in a different environment, they wouldn't even notice. If something, adverse happens, they just like, that's just random.
Yeah.
But to a person who's raised in the environment that everyone's going to rip us off, they'll spot, or Satan will have them see there, that proves it, that proves it. So their entire life has been a confirmation of the bias they learned from their parents, so they're cranky the whole time. And so then of course, that if they have depression on top of that, it just magnifies it.
They just magnifies
But
it.
that's their emotional baggage.
Now, it's interesting, you're a marriage counselor as well, so we hear the phrase opposite attracts.
Yeah, I don't really buy that.
But just work with me for a minute, okay?
All right, as long as
Okay.
you know I don't buy that.
Okay, as long as I know you don't buy it. So let's say I'm the cranky person, which I'm not. But let's say I'm the cranky person. I'm going to look for someone that's going to bring some joy into my life.
And they'd be
right?
an idiot to marry you.
Yeah, but I can convince them.
Yeah.
That I can be their cause. I can be their cause. So then there's a rub in that family as well. Is it more than just crankiness that causes mood disorders? Like,
yes.
what are some of the other things that you see?
Yeah, actually, let's just separate that completely.
Okay.
Because crankiness, the way I just described it, that's emotional baggage caused by early childhood events. Okay, so those are the kinds of things that God can actually heal. That's your baggage issues. Okay.
So he can heal it.
Yes, I've seen it over and over because he wants to come and heal the wounds, allow you to forgive all these people you think have ripped you off, and replace it with his truth and his joy.
And there can be a smile on your face.
There actually can, yeah. But see, joy is our inheritance. But Satan wants to make sure no one gets joy, so he heaps up all the baggage to block us from seeing the joy. He wants to distract us from God's joy by just saying, well, look at how awful our life is.
I like that statement. Joy is our inheritance. We need to claim it.
Well,
we
yeah.
need to own it.
Well, God is joyful. And the reason he created us, the whole reason man was created, because God wanted someone to share his joy with.
So my crankiness is oftentimes my emotional baggage that I've been bringing along.
Oh, the vast majority of the time. And then 20% of the population has a mood disorder, which then, of course, just magnifies it.
Can you walk me through a couple basic steps that if somebody is watching today, and we know there's thousands of people watching the program right now, they're thinking, just tell me something that I could start to do today to walk in mental wholeness.
Yes, well, actually, one, recognize that you aren't as whole as you think you are. Okay. So the thing is, are you actively struggling with something?
That's the starting.
Yes, and you look through your day. Are you comparing yourself to other people all the time? Do you find that you're just generally an unhappy person or a glass half empty kind of person? Okay, a glass half empty kind of person means that they're looking at life through colored lenses.
Okay.
And those lenses you put on almost certainly in childhood.
So even recognizing that is a healthy start.
Oh, that's huge, because most people just say, I'm fine. And if
Like
I
we're on
can
the
manage
elevator. We're on the elevator. I'm fine.
Yeah,
Nice
of
day.
course. Yeah, or that I can manage it. That's the number one lie is, I'm fine the way I am. I know I'm not quite right, but I can manage it. In other words, I can keep the lid on the boiling pots myself. I don't need any help, because to get help means it's admitting that I have a problem, which makes me look immature, and I don't want to look immature.
Okay, so if I recognize that, that's a second thing. Is there something else?
Well, yes, then you have to do something about it. You see, that's the
What
big
do I
problem.
need to do, Grant?
Well, and guys are very resistant to do anything because they're in control. Women are much faster to recognize the problem and do something about it. So depending on the severity, if it's disrupting your life, you should see a counselor. That would be absolutely the fastest solution. That's what counselors are for. Okay. But most people, I'm not that bad, okay, to see a counselor. So then there's all kinds of tools, all right? So the number one person to talk to is Jesus. Okay, if you won't talk to a counselor,
I'm glad you said that.
You go to Jesus and you say, I don't like the fact that I behave in this way. I don't like the fact that I think in these patterns recurringly.
You're saying something powerful. You're actually saying that the person is owning the fact that they are this way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But so if they're too ashamed to tell a counselor, then just go to Jesus and just say, I've watched this program. I realize that I'm a glass half empty kind of person. I'm a pessimist. I just always feel like I'm being ripped off, and I always feel second rate, and my self-esteem is this low. Jesus, why do I feel that way? And just put that before God and see what he tells you. And what often will happen is he'll just bring back a memory.
So you're saying God will speak to you?
Yes, he does actually. The Bible says, my sheep know my voice. So obviously he must be talking to his sheep.
What a great promise.
And so ask Jesus, why do I feel this way? What happened in the past that made me start to look at life that way? And probably you'll get a memory.
There's so much more we could talk about, but guess what? I'm going to give you the final word just before we break. What would be the one last thing you'd want to leave with people today?
Ask Jesus where your behavior started. Ask Jesus, why do I think this way? Why do I relate to people this way? And see what he tells you.
And I think that'll be the starting point to a healthy, whole mind.
Oh, it's a breakthrough moment.
Breakthrough moment.
You don't have to stay stuck in unhappiness. Today, we want to give you hope that you can change.
Are you ready to take the next step to a breakthrough moment in your life?
We've created tools to help you come out of unhappiness and regain your lost joy by changing how you think. Then you can have the mind of Christ.
The Free Your Mind online self-study program is designed to walk you through the healing pathway mentally, spiritually, and emotionally.
Through weekly 15-minute videos, monthly live Q&As, an online community forum, and 24-hour access to our entire video library, you can work at your own speed, anytime, from anywhere in the world to begin the life-changing transformation you've been looking for. You can learn more about it using the links below this video.
We'll talk to you next week, but this week, take the next step to your personal transformation.